Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show, it's about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. I love that the crux of this story kind of follows Eugene and his love situation. It is kind of sad that love is the main motivation that led him to come here in the first place. And then for him, like, everything sadly went wrong because it seemed like, everything's great between him and Stephanie. Stephanie reading his book that he's writing and she's loving it. And it's just like, it feels like it's happy. And it's like, he loves her, gave her a key to his place. I kind of felt something was up. I was like, the way she was hesitant at first, I was like, is she not going to say it back? But she's like, I love you too. And it's like, I think it's because at that moment, it's like, things got really, really serious. I'm like, I guess it didn't get serious when the fact is he came across all that with Ezekiel, Yumiko, and eventually Princess just for the sake of getting here. But I guess that doesn't, change any of that. But when she disappeared, I didn't think, like, the fact that she was packing up her bags and everything, I'm like, my initial thought is, and this still could be true, is that she's a part of whatever thing that, like, Tyler said, like, I'm one of 1,000. Now, that might be... It might be connected. I think there is there is an underground resistance going on in the Commonwealth, and I think Stephanie was a part of it. We don't quite know for sure, but it does definitely seem like it might be in that vein, like the way she's packing up so quickly. That's why I was like, either she doesn't want to get discovered or what. But now, later on, we find out the truth of like, she was basically told to drop everything because things were getting too serious, and they were trying to like tear the band-aid off slowly because they like, right, he told me he loved me, he's even giving me a key to a place. It's like, we both all know this is kind of jacked up because he's basically falling in love with someone that isn't real. So, and the thing is how distraught Eugene was because he kind of gave his whole heart to Stephanie, and once again, he led his entire, he basically ended up sacrificing his own community for this love. So it's just kind of a thing of, come on, like, it sucks that it's kind of all fake, and especially how like turned around and how bad off he was. But he's unraveling this kind of conspiracy and he's bringing it to Princess's attention, which she kind of bought into it. You could tell she had a reluctancies along the way because she's even the one that's like, if a woman says she loves you, she means it. And she even Eugene tried to like throw that back at her later on. She's like, yeah, but the fact is, if she just leaves and doesn't tell you anything, that's kind of a sign too. Princess even kind of equates it to her dad. It's like, yeah, my dad just kind of left. Now whether it's because I smoked a cigarette, she's like, I don't know, I'll never know. But it's just kind of, you just got to accept the fact is you got dumped and moved on. Because the moment Hornsby presented all that evidence, I kind of figured Hornsby was a part of this because when you look at the silhouette of people, there was like one person he couldn't identify, and that person was like, the moment you saw the silhouette, I'm like, that's definitely Hornsby looking at it. Even though we at the time, like, and just it confirmed it later on when he was all here with like, oh my God, look at this orgy of evidence that says like all the stuff that you're believing is kind of crazy. Like, that guy definitely has a work order to work there. It's like, even though all the stuff Eugene said was like, right, he wasn't in any uniform. To me, the most suspicious thing, like immediately for me, was like, yeah, the guy walked out of the building without any tools or whatever, So his claim to all that was like complete and utter BS. And the one person he confided in with all of this was Princess, and probably knew that if he tried to tell anyone else, everyone else would jump to the same conclusion too. So he decided to handle it on his own and gets confronted and finds out, yeah, it's all. Even he said, like, I should have, like, figured it out. It shouldn't take, just Occam's razor to basically make me figure out, like, what's going on here. He's like, it shouldn't have taken a literal kick to the stomach for me to realize everything. So it's like, who was she? Was she a con artist? Like, everything. Like, you got me. He's like, you probably looked at me as like the easiest one to manipulate, but even when you separated us, I didn't break. The one that ended up breaking was Princess, but that was extenuating circumstances. But it was like, yeah, you thought you could break me, but the moment she brought me into the radio tower where you guys caught us, and it's like, right, to protect her and everything, I did whatever you want. She's like, you definitely got me then. It's like, damn, that sucks. And for Eugene, because I think it's also the thing of Eugene, I don't know if he ever, like, forgave himself for the lie that he, when he was with Rosita and Abraham, that whole lie about, like, go to Washington, find a cure. He just did that to protect himself. And I think maybe on some level, like, because he's the one that kind of gave this hope to his people, because he also kind of went for selfish reasons, too. It's like, yeah, it worked out in the end. That's even Hornsby's point. It's like, yeah, a little heartbreak is a price to pay. You know, it sucks. I'm sorry that your heart got broken, but I mean, look at it in the grand scheme of things. Your people were about to starve, so you inadvertently ended up helping them. Yes, I manipulated you know, it's like, yeah, and is it my fault? Your people are too stupid to realize they have a good thing in front of them. So obviously this is why this is still like a, you know, Kelly and Connie talked about it a little bit more. Obviously this is still like a temporary thing. They're testing things out for a little bit. Like I said, it's been over like a month while everyone else is staying behind in the, to really figure out, like, get a, you know, before everyone comes along. It's like, right, you guys test the water, see what it's like amongst the community. So now Eugene's in this tough spot because what do? You tell your people the truth? Because if you tell them the truth, it also means like you led them into this situation. You sold your people out to some extent. That is like, that's all on you. All for the sake of someone that wasn't real. And, you know, Hornsby's like, right, she did thoroughly enjoy your book. So do keep at it and stuff. And it's like, yeah, he burns all the pictures of her. He burns the book that was writing, and he gets it visited by not Stephanie, but the person he was talking to on the radio, the real person. And it's Mercer's sister, which is interesting considering, like, right, because Princess is the one that kind of has a thing for Mercer. So for it to be like, okay, but Eugene's gonna be like, well, first and foremost, it's like, even if you are the real person I was talking to, quote unquote Stephanie I was talking to the entire time, that doesn't make this any easier because you were lying to me, just like that fake Stephanie was lying to me. And it's like, right, all that information you were helping gather, you were suckering me in. So, but I think she felt bad because she does legitimately like Eugene. All that time they spent together talking did mean something to her. And I could take, like, the fake Stephanie. Didn't he say, like, her name was, like, Shira was, like, her real name or something? It's like, yeah, she felt bad about it the moment she was walking away, but it's like, right, I have a mission. It's important. Because Hornsby's definitely making moves. Because all the stuff he's doing with Carol, because I think that's going to feed into all of this. Because Carol's doing whatever she can because she's trying to... And what? Carol's always been that character for a very long time. I want to say since season 3 Carol's been that type of character, like, I'll do what's necessary, what I need to do. I think it's shifted even more because it's like, I'll do whatever I need to do for the people I care about. Just because I'm sure, like, in the aftermath of, like, right, I'm the reason why Connie was gone for so long. I'm also the reason why, like, things with Alpha turned out the way they did, the whole Hilltop thing. Like, my desire for revenge cost so much that she's trying to do everything she can to make it up for the people. Because I guess it's like, right, she can't do anything for Henry, but she can do something for Ezekiel because he is someone that she cared about and still does care about. So I want to make sure he's okay because I guess she wants to do some good. Like, you know, it's like, right. Because I think she just feels like she hasn't done enough to make up for everything when it came to, like, the whispers and stuff. Specifically the whole Alpha and wanting revenge against her thing. She ended up helping with the whole... Hornsby makes a deal with the people who produce the opium that they use at the hospitals and stuff. So kind of have to appease them. You have workers kind of going on strike. But then they find out the one that's kind of leading the group, Mato or whatever, ends up, he's abusing his workers. That's why they went on strike. Carol kind of reveals that. Kind of he gets taken out of the equation. Now Carol looks more favorable in Hornsby's life because he talks a little bit about, like, oh yeah, he knows what it's like to have to get to the top, and she's like, oh, because you're at the top. He's like, oh no, I'm not even close to the top. But he's been, like, he's done stuff for the Milton family enough that he's kind of been indebted to the family. So I guess that's kind of why he is where he is. He's kind of presented himself, I guess it should have been very clear. He definitely has, like, Saul Goodman energy. He has that weasel energy to him, where it's just kind of like, yeah, I can see you with your manipulations and your machinations, that you are like, you're the planner. You're like, right, I'm just biding my time until I can get what I want. Now, how this ties into those long list of people that, like either Tyler was a part of, like, some resistance of some sort, or maybe other people like Tyler who've been screwed over get brought into some resistance. Because I think it's just like Hornsby's gathering people where it's like, right, you don't believe in the way things have been run. Because I think in Hornsby's eyes, I think he'd probably go as far as saying this, Pamela's just a figurehead. The Miltons are just figureheads. Like, I have to bend the knee to her and her stupid son. Like, no, I'm the one that knows how this place works from top to bottom because I was at the bottom. The fact is he's passing on those lessons to Carol. I think it's like, right, you kind of have to do some bad for the greater good. And I think he thinks, I'm the greater good for this community. He's just waiting for his moment to strike, trying to gather up all the people he needs because going after, you can't go directly at the queen. You gotta make it, a little sleight of hand. You gotta come from multiple directions. You gotta make sure all your ducks in a row, and because you can't come at her straight on, you gotta come at her from her blind side. I think that's kind of what he's aiming for. All that he's building and amassing, and I think that is going to tie into specifically Connie's story, because her and Kelly are continuing to investigate, because Connie's the one asking more and more and more about the whole Tyler thing, but her boss is like, yeah, no, we have to do this puff piece because you keep asking questions and stuff, so I don't want to have to keep writing stuff about Pamela like this, so just like, do your job. You do the piece so I don't have to later on or again, so... But no matter where everything takes him, like, I even love Kelly's like, right, the only reason why you want to know the secret behind all this is because it's a secret. You can't stand there being something that you don't know. Because also, they talk about it a little, Connie talks about it a little bit too. It's like, right, they know my issue, no, right, because her and Kelly were sent to, like, do some propaganda piece about Mercer and his people, like that unit and stuff. I wonder, do they know that Daryl was a part of all that? What about Rosita and stuff? Because she doesn't like the militarization of the police. That's kind of like something she's not a big fan of. So the fact is that it's like, right, that's why she sent me here specifically to do this puff piece about all this. And it turns out, as I mentioned earlier, because Connie's the one that found out that the girl that Tyler held captive last episode, hostage, is Mercer's sister. And even him just saying, like, oh, my sister ain't having a damn thing to do about this. But sadly, inadvertently, is that why Tyler took her hostage? Just like, does no one publicly know that they're related? Or is that well-known knowledge? Because the way Connie talks about it, Mercer was actually going to give Tyler, like, a promotion, but it's like, right, that guy was on a fast track. Like, apparently he said he made one mistake, and then also he kind of alluded to, like, politicians are in control of the military, so, like, what's that, they're being manipulated, like, what's going on? Mercer isn't answering because there's a hierarchy here, but there's also some pieces that even he's being left out of, because Mercer's like, he shows up and Tyler's going, is like, where's Tyler? He's not supposed to be moved without my permission. And she's like, and the lady's like, I guess he can. So only people with enough pull, I would assume, is Hornsby. So he probably bailed Tyler out just to bring him into the fold, probably covering his tracks in the process, not unless it's something Pamela did, but I don't know. Or her son trying to, like, get justice for whatever reason. I don't know. He already kind of got the win, so I don't see him coming back for more. So either Pamela did it or Hornsby, which I'm leaning more towards Hornsby. Because at the end of the day, Connie and Kelly got a list of names, and Tyler's is one of them. So it's like, right. So whatever his circumstances are, there's a laundry list of people. I should just said long. I don't know why I said laundry. Well, I guess I could just say long laundry list of people who are involved in all this. So it is interesting to know there's some conspiracy going on here. I find that fascinating because that's never really been too much of The Walking Dead. I guess the World Beyond is the only one that's really tackled, like, some grand conspiracy, because, I mean, that's the grand conspiracy is like the CR, which obviously ties into The Walking Dead, because obviously the whole got Rick Angle to it all, but still. As well as, obviously, it ties into Jadis and stuff, so. But I'm really interested to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. Like I said, it definitely feels like they seem like they might be three different things that are heavily tied, because that's all we focused on this episode. So I think they're all connected. Like, all you have to do is bring the pieces together from Eugene's side of things, Kelly and Connie's side of things, and then, like, Carol's side of things, and you've got pieces to the puzzle. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us with all of this, but really that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.